India 4, India November, Bravo Hotel 7, Echo Delta 2, you are also 59, thank you, finish please.
All right, this is a very short video, brief, about a very simple adapter that I designed on FreeCAD and printed out in a 3D printer. This is for the Elk Antenna. It's sort of a universal adapter to take any camera tripod and use it as a platform for the Elk Antenna. I tried to keep the print simple to avoid the necessity for supports during the printing. One thing I forgot to do when I exported the STL is to invert the models, so you'll have to do that in the slicer program. Just flip it 180 degrees and it should print fine, so the wide base is at the bottom. The design is mostly in the shape of a cone, narrow at the top with a wide base at the bottom. The idea is that the tripod mounting plate will just screw right to the base here, and then this inserts into the PVC pipe at the bottom of the Elk Antenna. There's also a little pilot hole or a screw hole on the side here. I made it fairly small. It's just basically a pilot guide for screwing in a screw to hold this fast inside the Elk PVC mount. And then you drill a small hole in the side of the cavity, the Elk Antenna, the PVC pipe. Okay, so I've added the mounting plate to the adapter here. And like I said, I made the hole through the bottom of this a little bit smaller than the screw itself, so that you can take it and just with the existing mounting plate screw, you just kind of torque it in and it will cut its own grooves, and it's actually pretty solid there. Now, I make no promises as to how durable it is or how permanent it is, but it does work that way, and that's the way I've got it right now, is just with the original. The more permanent method is to just pull the screw out of the mounting plate and then put your own bolt through there. And I left a gap in here so that you just put the nut, put the screw in through from the bottom, and then have a nut on here with a wrench through this open space to hold it in place, and then just screw that bolt in. And so that would make it a more permanent solution. I did wrap one wrap of electrical tape around this to make it a little more snug, and I've got the pilot hole, and that goes with just a standard small sheet metal screw that will cut its own grooves into the side, into the plastic. So that hole is more of just a guide for the screw itself. And then on the antenna itself, so this fits into it, and with the tape on it, it's fairly snug. And then you line up the holes here. You drill a hole in the side of the holder here and line it up with that hole on the inside. And here's the mount fully mounted on into the antenna, and it's pretty sturdy. It's not going to fall out. All right, mounted on the tripod. It's actually pretty sturdy. Not a lot of wobble to it, and good azimuth elevation, strength. I make no claims as to durability. It's based on your 3D print and how you've configured it, but it's pretty solid. Now, the one downside to having it fixed like this is that for satellites, if they've got a rotation, this does not, it doesn't accommodate the circular polarization or polarization shifts if a satellite is twisting in space or tumbling in space. Now, for the International Space Station, that's not a problem because it doesn't tumble, thankfully. But for other satellites, it does. You will have, polarization issues or nulls from the signal. But what I found is having the antenna stable and focused on the satellite really makes communication a lot easier. So this should be a benefit. Well, that's it for my Elk Antenna tripod adapter video. I made this for my own use. It is experimental, so if you decide to print it and use it, do so at your own risk. But I do think it's a good design, and it's always good to keep your hands free when you're working the satellites, especially if you're using like an HT and trying to do multiple things at the same time. But hopefully this is of benefit for you. Thanks.
AO 27 is 75.1 degrees, rising.